Jimmy Haslam just set fire to the Browns season by firing Kevin Stefanski over one name, Shedeur Sanders. The owner wanted his rookie quarterback on the field. Stefanski didn't. End of story. This wasn't some long-term performance review. It was a direct reaction to Sanders riding the bench while Joe Flacco tossed up wounded ducks and handed away games. The breaking point? A disaster against Detroit that left the Browns humiliated on national TV. Their offense stuck in neutral, and Flacco once again proving he's 5 years past reliable. Haslam reportedly stormed in demanding change. Stefanski said no. Hours later, he was gone. Sanders still hadn't played a snap, but his presence had already rewritten the team's power structure. Stefanski's firing wasn't part of a rebuild. It was an emergency reset by a desperate ownership trying to force a miracle. And for Haslam, that miracle is Sanders. Never mind the coaching staff's caution or the locker room politics. The owner sees a future built on Sanders' arm, and he's not waiting. Whether that future actually materializes, though, is anyone's guess. Joe Flacco's continued starts in the face of fan outrage only made it worse. Every interception turned up the volume. Every stalled drive pushed fans closer to open revolt.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Sanders was supposed to be the spark. Young, talented, confident under pressure. Instead, he became a symbol of everything Cleveland was refusing to do. Trust the future. Now, with Stefanski ousted and the team directionless, all eyes are on Sanders. Not just as a quarterback, but as a potential savior in a city that's been burned too many times. This isn't just about playing the kid. It's about betting the franchise on him. The Browns have cycled through quarterback experiments like bad reality shows. Each year brings a new promise, a new rebuild, and another broken ending. Sanders might finally be the right piece, but Cleveland's history makes that a terrifying gamble. Haslam just pushed all his chips in, without a coach, without a plan, and with the entire league watching. Sanders could rewrite the story. Or he could be the next name added to Cleveland's wall of wasted potential. Either way, Haslam's decision has locked the Browns into one path, and there's no turning back now. The Cleveland Browns have done it again. This time, not with fumble, not with a last-second interception, but with front office meltdown that's become the most talked-about fiasco in football. Head coach Kevin Stefanski is out, and not because of a slow start or locker room politics. No, this was a full-blown clash of egos and control, and it ended with Jimmy Haslam throwing gasoline on the fire he helped start. Let's get one thing straight. Kevin Stefanski was fired not for losing games, but for refusing to play Shedeur Sanders. That's the scandal. That's the headline. That's the thing that has everyone from analysts to fans to opposing players shaking their heads in disbelief. It wasn't secret. Haslam made his demand loud and clear. Start Sanders. Make the move. Show the fans you're ready to stop clinging to the past. And Stefanski? He said no. He dug in, stuck to his guns, and doubled down on veteran Joe Flacco, who, let's be honest, is about 3 turnovers past retirement. That decision cost Stefanski his job. And now the Browns are not only coachless, but once again at the center of a public crisis entirely of their own making. What's especially painful here is that none of this needed to happen. Cleveland had the chance to finally turn a corner. They had a talented rookie quarterback ready to go, a player with the poise, the pedigree, and the potential to lead this franchise out of the same cycle of disaster that's defined it for 2 decades. Instead, they bench him, week after week. As the offense sputtered and Flacco delivered one underwhelming performance after another, Shedeur Sanders stood on the sideline, helmet on, ready to go. And every single time, Stefanski chose not to play him, chose to stick with the known quantity, chose experience over growth, familiarity over potential. And in doing so, he chose to alienate the fans, insult the intelligence of anyone watching, and, most importantly, stall the development of the only real shot this team has at fixing its identity crisis. The result? Disaster. A humiliating loss to Detroit was the last straw. It wasn't just a loss. It was a lifeless, uninspired, unwatchable performance. Flacco was ineffective. The offense looked directionless. The team looked defeated before the third quarter. And yet again, Sanders didn't get a single meaningful snap. That's when Haslam snapped. Reports say the confrontation was direct, ugly, and absolute. Haslam made his expectations clear. Play Sanders or pay the price. Stefanski refused, and Haslam fired him. On the surface, it looks like chaos. And it is chaos. But the truth underneath it is even more dangerous. This is a team with no alignment, no unified vision, no leadership that knows how to build for the future without torching the present. Haslam's intervention highlights something Browns fans have known for years. The front office doesn't trust its football staff, and the staff doesn't trust the front office. It's a carousel of dysfunction, and it's been spinning since before Sanders got to Cleveland. Now that dysfunction is playing out on the national stage. The Browns are a punchline again. They're not being analyzed. They're being mocked. This isn't football. It's spectacle. ESPN isn't breaking down coverages. They're debating whether Haslam is the most impulsive owner in the league. NFL Network isn't talking about scheme. They're laughing at Cleveland's latest identity crisis. And it's not just the media. The fans are furious. Browns fans are some of the most loyal in sports. They've endured more quarterback rotations than most franchises have had in their history. But this is a different level. They've watched a talented rookie, arguably the most exciting prospect since Baker Mayfield's rookie season, be wasted, not out of caution, not out of injury, but out of pure, unshakable stubbornness. Fans are chanting Shedeur's name in stadiums. Social media is flooded with clips, comparisons, and calls for him to start immediately. Everyone sees it. Everyone knows it. Everyone, that is, except the people making the decisions. Until now. With Stefanski gone, there's no more excuse. No more delay. No more deflection. The Browns have only one option left. Start Shedeur Sanders. But starting him isn't enough. It has to mean something. It has to be the start of a new era. Because if they treat Sanders like a temporary fix, like a PR move, like a reaction to media pressure, they're going to destroy him the same way they've destroyed every other quarterback who's come through that building. Cleveland doesn't need another quarterback controversy. They need a quarterback commitment. They need to build the offense around Sanders, give him the tools, protect him, design the playbook with him in mind, give him the freedom to lead, and most importantly, be patient. Because this team has made a career out of burning out young quarterbacks before they've even had a chance to grow. It's always the same pattern. Draft, hype, bench, panic, fire, repeat. Sanders can't be the next name on that list. He has to be the one that breaks the cycle. His college numbers, his maturity, his presence under pressure, it's all there. He's shown he can be the guy. He just needs a franchise to stop working against him and start working with him. The fans are ready. The media is watching. The locker room is waiting. The Browns are out of time. They've reached the turning point, and they only get to pick one direction. Forward with Shedeur Sanders, or backward into another year of instability, scapegoats, and post-game apologies. There's no safety net, no backup plan, no more leeway from the public. This is it. Start the quarterback. Commit to the quarterback. And stop letting ego, fear, and outdated thinking keep this team in the basement. Because if they blow this, if they somehow screw up the best shot they've had in years to right the ship, they deserve every loss, every headline, every meme, every groan from a fan base that's been dragged through the mud for far too long. The Browns don't just need a quarterback. They need a revolution. And it starts with one decision. Finally starting Shedeur Sanders. So what do you think? Did Haslam make the right move firing Stefanski? Or is this just another meltdown in a franchise built on them? Should Shedeur start right now? Or is this already too broken to fix? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're just here for the chaos, the carnage, and the next inevitable Browns crisis, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Because in Cleveland, the curse never sleeps. Let's not pretend the Browns didn't see this coming. Everyone, from the water boy to the owner's box, knew what was building. The fans were shouting for Shedeur Sanders. The losses were stacking up. The media was circling like sharks. And still, Cleveland stood there, arms crossed, pretending like everything was under control, while the whole ship was clearly taking on water. They didn't just mishandle a quarterback. They mishandled the moment. They had something rare in this league: momentum, hope. A quarterback who could have injected real energy into the franchise. And instead of riding that wave, they parked on a bench and ran out the same tired script with Joe Flacco, who hasn't been the answer for any team in nearly a decade. And when Stefanski refused to budge, Jimmy Haslam snapped, "Let's not romanticize it." This wasn't some genius tactical decision from a forward-thinking owner. It was a reaction, a move made out of frustration, public pressure, and humiliation of getting smoked by the Detroit Lions on national television. Haslam didn't play 4D chess. He kicked over the board. And now, here they are, scrambling. They don't have a head coach. They don't have a consistent offensive identity. What they do have is a fan base in open revolt, a media cycle tearing them to shreds, and a rookie quarterback who's been treated more like a marketing tool than a franchise cornerstone. But the scariest part? They're still one bad decision away from throwing it all away. Again, because let's be honest, this team has a track record. It's not just that they've had bad quarterbacks. It's that they've had potentially great ones and never figured out how to build around them, how to develop them, how to trust them. You want a list? Fine. Brady Quinn, Colt McCoy, Brandon Weeden, Johnny Manziel, Deshaun Kaiser, Baker Mayfield. All of them had flashes. All of them were hyped. All of them were supposed to be the guy. And all of them were dumped, demoted, or derailed by an organization that couldn't get out of its own way. That's not coincidence. That's culture. And now Shedeur Sanders is staring down that same legacy, whether he likes it or not. Because if Cleveland's not careful, if they don't change everything about how they manage this moment, Sanders won't be the next star. He'll be the next casualty. That's the real danger here. Not another losing season. Not a bad playoff run. The danger is ruining another quarterback before he ever gets a chance to succeed. And right now, they're on that exact path. It's not enough to just say, start Shedeur. That's the easy part. The hard part? Committing to him. That means overhauling the playbook around what he does well. It means giving him a real offensive line, not a patchwork unit built from desperation signings. It means surrounding him with talent and not expecting him to play savior football 10 weeks into his rookie year. And above all, it means sticking with him when things go sideways. Because they will. There will be bad games, ugly picks, rookie mistakes. If the Browns panic the first time he throws a bad interception or loses a game, then we're back to square one. And this entire public disaster, the Stefanski firing, the fan outrage, the Haslam explosion, will mean absolutely nothing. This is a trust fall. And the Browns have never been good at catching anyone. But now, they have no choice. The fans aren't going to tolerate another veteran placeholder. They've made that crystal clear. No one's buying tickets to watch Joe Flacco manage another 10-point game. The stadium was already halfway to mutiny. The only thing keeping the season alive, barely, is the possibility of Sanders under center. You can feel it, the desperation, the curiosity, the need for something real. Cleveland has been stuck in quarterback purgatory for so long that even the idea of a franchise QB is enough to light up the city. But this time, the idea isn't just hype, it's real. Because Shedeur Sanders can be that guy. He's not perfect, but he's poised. He's confident. He's sharp in the pocket. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't need a perfect situation. He just needs a shot that isn't poisoned from the start. And if the Browns can't give him that, then they need to admit right now that they don't actually want to win. They want to manage narratives, control perception, protect power, not football games. Because this is football's version of a last chance. You don't get many Shedeur Sanders moments in this league. You get one, maybe two. If you're lucky, screw it up and you're done. For years. And no matter how many PR spins or emotional locker room speeches they throw out there, the only thing that matters now is what they do. Start Sanders. Not next week. Not once the season's mathematically over. Now, let him take hits. Let him fail. Let him learn. Let him lead. And don't rip the rug out the first time something goes wrong. If Cleveland wants to stop being a joke, This is how it starts. By finally showing some guts. By doing the hard thing. By betting on the future instead of grasping for the past. Because here's the cold truth. The Browns don't get to complain about bad luck anymore. They are not unlucky. They are undisciplined. They are impulsive. They are unwilling to commit to the things that actually build a winning team. Starting Sanders won't fix everything overnight, but not starting him guarantees you fix nothing. You want out of this mess? Give the keys to the kid and let him drive. And yeah, it's risky, but playing it safe is exactly how they ended up in this disaster to begin with. The old strategy doesn't work. The old quarterbacks don't work. The old mindset definitely doesn't work. So burn it down the right way this time. Start fresh. Start Shedeur. And don't look back. Because if they don't do it now, if they wait, stall, or worse, panic again, there won't be anything left to save. Not this season. Not the locker room. Not the fan base. Nothing. At this point, asking whether the Browns will finally start Shedeur Sanders feels like asking if the Titanic could have swerved. The warning signs were everywhere. The fans saw it. The media saw it. Even the players, whether they'll admit it or not, had to be thinking, why isn't the most talented quarterback on the roster starting? But no, Cleveland did what Cleveland always does. Took the hard road, ignored the obvious choice, and chose disaster dressed up as strategy. Now they're coachless, quarterback-infused, and sitting dead center in the eye of a media hurricane they created with their own hands. And the only way out? The only way to salvage any shred of dignity from this mess? Start Shedeur Sanders. Right now. No more waiting until the right moment. No more vague development. Excuses. No more leaning on Joe Flacco like it's 2012 and not 2025. No more treating your most important draft pick like he's in witness protection. You don't fire a head coach over a quarterback decision and then hesitate. You go all in. But if there's one thing we've learned about the Browns, it's this. They'll make the right decision only after exhausting every possible wrong one. Firing Stefanski should have been the end of the debate. Jimmy Haslam made his stance loud and painfully clear. Play the kid or pack your bags. But somehow, even after all the drama, there's still hesitation. Still whispers that the Browns might evaluate the situation before making a final call. Evaluate what? They've been evaluated into the ground. The offense doesn't work. The fans have turned. The media is laughing. The veterans look uninspired. The quarterback room is a graveyard. And the only person who hasn't been given a chance to fail or succeed is a rookie quarterback with actual upside. This isn't about potential anymore. This is about survival. Cleveland is teetering on the edge of irrelevance. Again. And the longer they stall, the more this entire season rots from the inside out. Because here's what happens if they keep playing the waiting game. They lose the fans. They lose the locker room. They lose the only momentum they had left, which, by the way, is people hoping to see Shedeur play right now. Hope is the only thing keeping the ship afloat. But if you don't cash in on it, if you don't deliver, people check out. Fans stop showing up. Players start looking for the exit. And that already fragile culture you spent years pretending to build, gone. Shedeur isn't just a quarterback decision. He's the entire direction of this franchise. You start him and you're saying, we're finally ready to invest in the future. We're ready to grow. We're ready to endure the bumps and build something real. You keep him bench and you're saying, we're still scared. We still don't trust ourselves. We'd rather protect our mistakes than take a risk. That second message, that's the Browns brand right now. And it's killing them. This isn't about making the playoffs. That ship already took on too much water. This is about identity, about reputation, about whether or not anyone, fans, media, players, believes this team actually wants to win, or if they're just collecting checks and excuses. And let's be real. You can't sell tickets to fans who watch you torch every quarterback experiment for the past 20 years. You can't sell jerseys if you're too afraid to put the guy's name on the field. You can't pretend to be a serious franchise when the most talented player on your offense is getting less playtime than the backup punter. The people of Cleveland aren't asking for a Super Bowl. They're asking for a reason to care. They want a direction. a plan, a player who could maybe, just maybe, grow into something worth believing in. And Shedeur Sanders is the first quarterback since Baker Mayfield that's even given him a glimpse of that. But here's the difference. Mayfield was handed the job when things got desperate. He earned his starts by sheer necessity. There was no long-term plan. Just a team on fire and a rookie tossed in to douse the flames. That can't be how they handle Shedeur. This can't be about damage control. It can't be about buying time. It has to be intentional. You start him because you believe in him, because he's ready, because the moment demands it. Not because you're out of options, but because he is the option. And yes, he's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw a pick. He's going to miss reads. He's going to lose games. But that's not failure. That's part of the process. You don't draft a quarterback to sit and watch veterans limp their way through mediocrity. You draft him to play. That's what separates the great franchises from the ones constantly stuck in reboot mode. The great ones put their faith in the future, even when it's risky. The broken ones cling to the past and hope no one notices the whole operation is falling apart. So which one do the Browns want to be? Because right now it's still a choice. But that window is closing fast. The fan base has already decided. The media has already decided. The rest of the league is watching and waiting for Cleveland to do the Cleveland thing. Fumble it at the 1-yard line. Again. But they don't have to. They don't have to keep being the franchise everyone mocks. They don't have to burn through another quarterback. They don't have to waste another rebuild. They can change. Right now. With one decision. Start Shedeur Sanders. Start him and mean it. Not just as a panic move. Not as a distraction. Not because the fans demand it. Start him because he deserves it. Because he's the most prepared, most promising, most electric quarterback on the roster. And because you already threw the coach out the door for not playing him. You've crossed the line. Now you have to commit. Because if you don't, if you bench him again or give him one bad game and pull the plug, it's not just about this season. It's about everything. The message you send, the culture you build, the story you tell every other talented player who walks through your doors. Cleveland isn't cursed. Cleveland is just stuck. Stuck in fear. Stuck in dysfunction. Stuck in the delusion that playing it safe is somehow the same as building toward something. But playing it safe got them here. It got them another lost season. Another firing. Another quarterback controversy. Another media circus. It got them nothing. So take the risk. Start the rookie. Live with the growing pains. And maybe, just maybe, you get something out of it. A future. A real one. Because if you don't, if you go back to what's safe, you deserve every meme, every hot take, every empty seat, every losing Sunday. And you'll have no one left to blame but yourselves. So, Browns fans, what do you think? Is this finally the moment Cleveland turns a page, or are we watching history repeat itself in real time? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let us know if you're still holding out hope, or if you're just here for the chaos. And if you want to ride this meltdown all the way to its next dramatic twist, hit that subscribe button. Because in Cleveland, the circus never ends.